is indivisible. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
We want no more segregation. We will accept no more discussion of segregation. And I would appreciate it if you would stop shaking your head in agreement when I don't think you understand what we are talking about.
Hello, and welcome to Rainbow Shelter News. I am your host, as always, Osman in the Dark. I may have made some bad decisions, and I might be part of the worst with humanity, who knows. But, although unrelated bad decisions, I suppose, to the news, I cooked chicken. I was like, you know what's a really good idea? I'm gonna start cooking this chicken that takes about an hour to cook. I'm gonna start cooking it about an hour before the show. And I see no problem here. Nope. So, as always, we start with the yes, Jinx Chima, trees. Trees. Well, that's a Twitch thing. Anyways, as always, we're going to start with the grimmer news of recent deaths. Disabled man with disability, or a disabled man. A disabled man died in Brazil by Brazilian police. Genevaldo de Jesus Santos, a 38-year-old black man with a psychosocial disability, was basically murdered by Brazilian police officers. Apparently, people were killed in a police raid, which I can't remember if I covered, in Rio de Janeiro. Brazilian police killed more than 6,100 people. Killed more than 6,100 people in 2021, most of them black. Oh, so likely autistic. Yeah, that was my assumption as well, internally. And I know black autistic people are up there in the highest risk, but this person wasn't even resisting at all or doing anything. So, police officers insulted him. He does not appear to offer resistance. A later video appears to show the officers holding him down on the ground. Another video, police seem to be putting him in the back of a patrol vehicle while one officer holds the door of the trunk down tightly over Santos's legs. Another is seen throwing what seems to be a tear gas grenade, which, I mean, tear gas grenades are technically chemical weapons that are, in general, against world regulation, but US uses them all the time, and I guess Brazil does too. A lesbian murdered and her body is mutilated in an alleged hate crime in South Africa. I know this is shocking that there's racism in South Africa. But yeah. So, police are searching for male friend she was last seen with, but mutilated. And look, chances are if it's an alleged hate crime, most of the time that allegation is accurate. She was allegedly She was murdered because of her sexuality, as far as we can tell. A gay man dies in a taxi just an hour after leaving bar with 3 strangers. So, this is New York City. April 20th. So, Ramirez, a 25-year-old social worker, because, of course, they would murder social workers. Gets in a cab with 3 unknown men at 3 a.m. Less than an hour later. The cab driver approached a police officer in Manhattan's just 3 miles away to say Ramirez was unresponsive in the backseat. And a bunch of the money stolen from the account, which is just tragic. And I believe this is the final one. Yeah, the final one. Margot Human, one of the few Holocaust survivors to testify about her life in the concentration camps as a gay woman, died at age 94. So Margot Human died on the 11th of May at a hospital in Green Valley, Arizona. She's survived by relatives. Basically, when she was 14, her and her family were deported to a town in the Czech Republic that was used as a transit ghetto for Jews en route to death camps. Her family had been taken from their comfortable life in Germany, where Human was born in 1928. And there she fell in love with a woman, and her family was sent to Auschwitz after her father was caught stealing food. But it looks like they're transported to camps. So it sounds like it's at least she stayed in touch with the person she loved at the time. But yeah. So on some potentially brighter news, lawmakers propose a new vote to change Puerto Rico's status. So Puerto Rico, it's a vote to try to make Puerto Rico a state, which Puerto Rico needs to be a state. Like, people get screwed over really hardcore in Puerto Rico. Especially if you're disabled, because you can't receive social. I believe Puerto Rico, because it's a colony or whatever. It's not like an official state or territory, whatever. The point is that you can't receive Social Security benefits. And I'm not sure if there are other important benefits which you also can't receive if you're Puerto Rican. So they're finally doing another vote to change it, and hopefully, so Puerto Ricans voted 53% for statehood and 47% against statehood. Now, that might be due to a lack of connection with the rest of the United States on an emotional level. I'm not sure. But I know in this ambiguous territory, in my opinion, seems like it's not good for marginalized groups in Puerto Rico. And Haiti was I can't words today. 5 ways Western powers extorted Haiti and marred its newfound independence. So France forced Haiti to pay reparations for its own freedom, because of course France did. Independence debt, which took Haiti 122 years to pay off. Unrealistic demands imposed a double debt. French banks siphoned millions of dollars in fees and interest from Haiti. The U.S. seized $500,000 in gold from Haiti, and U.S. occupation caused Haiti to fall even deeper into debt. It's almost like a lot of Western countries don't mind screwing over Africa. That's not Africa. Haiti's not Africa, is it? Caribbean. I am an idiot. I knew that. I knew that. Also, slightly... So, self-driving vehicles have potential to make it easier for disabled people to not be trapped. So, there's a lot of industries and such that have created innovations that would be really helpful to like a lot of people. However, I'm not sure how easy that access is. Heck, getting a car is difficult access for people of millennial generation or younger. So self-driving cars might sound nice. However, they're not necessarily going to do anything. So, I like the idea of providing more freedom. I just don't know how widely people can access that. You know? So that's its own thing. Although on potentially better news, South Carolina apparently ends sub-minimum pay for workers with disabled workers. So so the bill bars employers from participating in the federal 14C waiver program, which lets employers pay below minimum wage to workers with certain types of disabilities. The law, which the Republican governor signed on Monday, calls for ending the program by August 1st, 2024. So I guess cost is an issue, as is mobility, equipment, flexibility, yeah. With the signature, South Carolina becomes the 14th state to end the sub-minimum wage, according to the disability rights group ABLE South Carolina. Tennessee enacted a similar act in April. Now, with the amount of time, I always worry when it's like, we're going to end this in a few years. Now, 2024, this might actually stick. But I don't know. So, on another note, Brittany Griner could be released in possible prisoner exchange between Russia and the U.S. So, potential negotiation talks are underway. to try to get Brittany Griner released. So it's questionable. Jinx Tiamat, I'm totally fine if you ban the person. No need to hold back on that. Or I can. Anyways, 1 dead, 7 injured after shooting at Memorial Day Festival in Oklahoma. Yeah, I know. See, it's just a letter. I just know what sort of yeah. I know what sort of person does that sort of thing. They're looking to stir up trouble. Anyways, a shooting at an outdoor festival in eastern Oklahoma has left 1 woman dead and 7 others injured. According to the OSBI, gunfire erupted early Sunday morning as an argument broke out on a Memorial Day event in Taft, a small community outside of Tulsa. A 39-year-old woman was killed, 7 others, ranging from age 9 to 56, were wounded. On Sunday afternoon, police issued an arrest warrant for 26-year-old Skylar Buckner, who turned himself in at the sheriff's office. So, it sounds like it may have been an isolated incident. It was just, I think I had this article partially because it came right after the mass shooting. So on a different note, I keep wanting to say a brighter note. This isn't a brighter note. So virtual testing has led to discrimination against the disabled people, according to a report by the Center for Democracy and Technology. So apparently, Courtney Bergen, who has PTSD, Ehlers Danlos syndrome, and low vision, had approved accommodations to take breaks between sections to use the restroom, eat, and take medication during her LSAT. But a remote proctor told her she was not allowed to use the restroom and had to remain in camera view while taking her medications. By the time I got to the last section of the LSAT, I had to pee so badly, I was just clicking through answers trying to complete the test. Yeah, that's one of those things where on the one hand, I do partially understand why a test taker would want to try to maintain accuracy. However, if there are situations that are already documented, yeah, not allowing it to occur is just, well, it's just mean, for lack of a better word. No, it's very much, they value accuracy over the well-being of the individual taking the test, along with the not caring about the accuracy of the results, but caring about the quote-unquote perfection of the testing process. Apparently charges were dismissed against the Atlanta cop who tased 2 HBCU students during a traffic stop because, of course, this is one of those cop instances where, because there were a lot of these during the protests, the George Floyd protests that were going on. There were a lot of instances where officers would just do bad stuff to people, like tase and various other types of violence occurred. I can't remember all the instances. I know there's enough instances for this to seem familiar to me. But those officers are just, yeah. They should receive some sort of accountability for their actions. So on a lighter note, okay, I did have a lighter note. Don't hate me. Hope Chicago is sending thousands of Chicago students to college for free. Which that is just, that's good. I mean, it's a nonprofit by philanthropist Pete Kiddens. I don't know much about Pete Kiddens. It might be some rich person just doing philanthropy for philanthropy, but like the fact that they're going out of the way to actually put some real effort to making a positive change is a good thing. Texas still investigating transport of families for child abuse. So Texas child welfare, oh my god. So Texas is still doing this. I know they started this legal stuff. So Texas Supreme Court offered a mixed ruling. But yeah, it's just the fact that these were ordered, that they're still being carried out, is just an example. Yeah, no, Greg Abbott is terrible. It's absolutely the worst. On a funnier note, maybe I'm a little bit shaken because I get that way sometimes when because I never know if there's going to be a pylon when I get negative comments like that. Negative is putting it lightly, but like comments like that, I assume that's the startup potentially to a pylon of a lot of hateful people. So I suppose I really need this news story. Elon Musk is being sued by Twitter. Twitter shareholders, that is, not Twitter itself, as he attempts to lower the $44 billion acquisition price. You aren't alone, we got this. Thank you. Thank you, Jinx Tiamat. You help a lot. So, so what Elon Musk right here is doing is essentially the scene at the beginning of Arcane. So if you don't know, outside of the fact that I am a huge not huge League of Legends geek, a huge Arcane geek. League of Legends, I'm pretty minor in terms of geekness. Moderate geekness, more so for the game than the lore. Not that I'm unaware of the lore. Whatever. Right at the start of Arcane, these guys try to lower the price of this guy's goods. He's like, this isn't what we agreed on, and they're just like, well, how much it's worth has gone down since we talked. That's not how deals work. So it seems like Elon Musk is trying to pull a fast one on Twitter shareholders following his acquisition of the company and Tesla's stock plummeting. Deadline reports that the social media platform's shareholders have filed a class action lawsuit against Musk and Twitter, accusing him of unjust enrichment, false statements, and stock manipulation in an attempt to reduce or not pay the $44 billion that they settled on. In order to get the $44 billion together, Musk secured a bank loan by promising billions in Tesla stock. However, according to the lawsuit, in the month following the announcement of his acquisition, Tesla stock took a dive. During this time, Musk was beginning to quote-unquote make false statements and engage in market manipulation of Twitter stock, also saying that their agreement was quote-unquote on hold. On top of that, Musk didn't reveal that he had a 9.2% stake in Twitter when he was obligated to, which prompted an SEC investigation. Prior to his $44 billion offer, Musk first agreed to join the Twitter board as an ally, then reversed that decision in favor of a takeover bid, and threatened to go hostile if Twitter wouldn't accept deadline rights. His purchase of Twitter came late in April, but still has to be authorized by shareholders at a special meeting, which hasn't been set. Earlier this month, he revealed that his takeover of the social media company is quote-unquote temporarily on hold due to a number of quote-unquote fake accounts on the platform. Quote-unquote, Twitter deal temporarily on hold pending details supporting calculations that spam/fake accounts do indeed represent less than 5% of users, he tweeted. Still committed to acquisition. That move caused Twitter stock to fall as much as 14%, with Tesla shares jumping by 7%. Yeah, so Twitter potentially being worse for marginalized groups than it already is, and Elon Musk taking over just that had an impact, apparently, or trying to. Also, Florida high school student waving pride flag comes out at graduation to defy Don't Say Gay law. A high school student in Florida who has filed lawsuit against the state's Don't Say Gay law was told by school officials to use his graduation speech to mention, not to use his graduation speech to mention his homosexuality or criticize the law. He did. This is the guy who delivered that thinly veiled graduation speech. I don't know if I played it on here. It is really good. So I'm going to play it. Or maybe not. It's effectively, some people have straight hair, and some people, happen to have curly hair. And I used to think that my hair was supposed to be straight hair, but instead, later on, I found out I have curly hair, and now I'm really happy with my curly hair. It's something like that. The speech is amazing. I didn't realize it was that person specifically. I knew that person was also a Florida student, so I didn't know for sure. But, yeah, so... Bradley Curry has been out as trans since he was 12 years old, has gone master's in school ever since. Yeah. So maybe this is about that speech. There are definitely threats, and that speech, that speech is amazing. I love that. So, in a darker note in the United States, apparently a man hated the word queer so much he tried to set fire to an LGBTQ bar. So, Calvin Garcia has admitted he set fire near the Queer Bar, an LGBTQ drinking establishment in Seattle, Washington, because the word queer made him angry. Garcia now faces hate crime charges, including 10 years in prison, a $250,000 fine. Now, I'm going to guess, because the name Garcia, that this person is not super white, and that may be a factor to how easily that person was able to end up in jail because of hate things. That's a separate note. So yeah, yes, but this person is hateful, by the way. I'm not trying to say that they're not hateful. I'm just saying that white people are more likely to get away with hate crimes than people of color, because he said awful stuff like, I think it's wrong that we have a bunch of queers in our society. So he is one of the few people who still use it as a hateful term, since the word has been largely reclaimed, in my opinion. And in the opinion of a lot of the LGBTQ people, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex, and asexual people. It's right there in the title. It's weird to say that it hasn't been reclaimed to some degree, given that it's right there in the title. But yeah, apparently there have been a few different arsonists as well, including the burning of rainbow flags, etc., which is all bad. Oklahoma. You know what? Just gonna say it. I like the musical better than the state. Anyways, so they banned trans kids from using the right bathroom at school. Trans students will have to choose between being bullied in a bathroom or holding it in for the rest of the day. So, this is a common thing. It's not good for your kidneys or whatnot, but, so if I'm not sure if I'm gonna get hate, there are times when I will hold it in as much as I can to not use the bathroom. This is a common thing. A lot of people who are trans are just hold it in, just to avoid dealing with potential hate stuff. So, So the bill also allows schools to let trans students use single occupancy restrooms, something that courts have blocked when schools in other states try to do it. Yeah, bans trans students from participating in school sports. Blah, blah. Yeah, it's just bad. It's one of a number of awful things. So Groomers was written on 3 buildings after the rainbow flags were stolen. Apologize if I ever go out of video, it's because I'm eating chicken, because I have chicken right here that I cooked, and I mentioned the bad timing at the start. So, an unidentified man was spotted on security camera footage stealing a gay-owned business pride flag and writing "Groomers" on the sidewalk. And someone did the same thing to a house with a pride flag nearby and to a house in a different neighborhood. Lancaster is a sanctuary. Someone of the Lancaster, Pennsylvania told Lancaster Online. It must be Lancaster. It must be a news site from there. Lancaster is my sanctuary. Yeah. Oh wait, no, I said that. I don't want bigots and racists living in the city. I'm sorry, I got distracted by the related story. Let me zoom in to make it more visible. Wait, no, I can't do that easily. The related story is Joe Rogan claims teachers are telling straight kids they'll burn in hell if they don't turn gay. That's not how anything works. So, May 7th, a man stole a pride flag from Mallard and their fiance Rob Gay. That person wrote "Groomers" on the sidewalk in chalk outside their home and was caught on a neighbor's security camera. Why else would you steal a $10 flag? Ballard said. Yeah. Couple said that they hung out last Saturday evening on the porch to see if this person from the video would pass by since he couldn't be identified. And someone who looked like him did. They say that someone who looked like him on video had an "oh crap" look but denied stealing the flag. As people who get caught usually do. They have that "oh crap" look. I know what the look they're talking about. I gave that look when I was a teenager years and years ago, and also passed the limit of me being able to get in trouble for mentioning this. Are you, bro? Hey, loser. Hey, loser, Vampire Hunter D. Did you know that I really like how... Oh, wait, my finger slipped. I hit the block button. I'm so sorry. I guess you're blocked from the channel. Oh, message hidden from blocked user. Oh no. Whatever will he do? By the way, the camera was off because I was eating chicken. I'm not scared to show my face because, like, what are you gonna do? Pussy out on something else? Anyways, so, yeah, no, the people writing "groomer" on the sidewalk is generally concerning thing all throughout this particular area in Lancaster, and stealing pride flags. Thank you, Jinx Tiamat. I didn't know the right I didn't know the right thing. So, like, viewers who don't know, we are coming to Pride Month. And you know what hateful people like doing? They like trying to find every LGBTQ person they can and hating on them on Twitch during Pride Month. Now, it could also be just that I'm visible more, but either case, it's a sad time spent. Like, I would much rather to like watch Small Ant or something, play video games, or any number of other people. So actor Kevin Spacey, who apparently some people are fine with, faces 4 counts of sexual assault against 3 men. Prosecutors in the UK. I went back for more coffee and jerk off appeared. So, no, don't apologize. I was having fun, Jinx Tiamat. I have fun with this because, like, ultimately they're who knows where. And how dare they slander Vampire Hunter D. I love Vampire Hunter D. It's a great thing. Anyways, but yeah, no, they were very much sad. I have heard more hateful things. They're not trying hard enough. So the Crown Protection Service has charged actor Kevin Spacey with 4 counts of sexual assault involving 3 men, the CPS crime division said. He's also been charged with causing a person to engage in penetrative sexual activity without consent. The charges follow a review of the evidence gathered by Metropolitan Police in its investigation. Kevin Spacey is the worst. Yeah. But yeah, people were getting pissed off about things being okay for him, and then all of a sudden, the Metropolitan Police, who, by the way, the Metropolitan Police are awful. I'm not trying to defend the Metropolitan Police here. I don't know if there were no minors this time. So I can't say for sure. I mean, they're yeah. So right-wing extremist Ethan Schmidt vows LGBTQ hunting expedition during Pride Month. Now, this is like I said, 2 hateful people. That's expected during Pride Month. Hate comments, and we also had that troll that showed up in the Fluid Voice. So, like, this does not surprise me that there are people this hateful. There are people who want me dead for existing. I'm not particularly worried about stupid people online. First time maybe got me a bit shaken, but once I get into the vibe of dealing with them, well, it starts to get funny. Anyways, so right-wing extremist Ethan Schmidt, who founded the group the Anti-Maskers Club, has announced that he will be, quote-unquote, hunting LGBTQ plus people and their supporters during Pride Month, adding, "They're not safe." But sure, people can go on with their conspiracy theories that we are in so much charge of things when we have people who want to hunt us He is fined for violently ripping off a mask. Yeah, this is person like threatening murder. This person is saying they want to this is like the cruelest of the hateful people. Like the two people in chat, they're the sad kind. They sound like teenagers who are trying to bully me or something. This is where some of that leads. It's not a good place. On a brighter note, LeBron James surprised his students at his I Promise school. So, if you don't know, obviously, I should hope you know about, everyone knows about LeBron James as a basketball star, because he is a power forward who can do every role in basketball. He's amazing. Anyways, LeBron James surprised the students at his I Promise school in Akron, Ohio on Wednesday. James dropped in the school to celebrate his school's final day of the academic year before sending them off for summer break. In 2018, the Los Angeles Laker made a public commitment to help disadvantaged youth in his hometown access opportunities, mainly through education. I feel like, if I recall correctly, there's other stuff he's done to try to improve his hometown. It's genuinely just... LeBron James has probably done more good than you think. Yeah. So, and people got to see LeBron James. LeBron James is amazing person. Good for him. Good for the community. And I hope he can continue that stuff. So on to some of the main news. Parents are still waiting to identify missing children after Texas elementary school shooting. So in the Uvalde, Texas, devastating shooting that left 13 children and 2 adults dead, where police were busy standing outside. I don't know if they were, I think there was a good breakdown of how they did not have the warrior mentality, and also maybe they were taught that powerful guns mean a thing. A gun only needs to be as powerful as human flesh. It needs to be able to get through human flesh. That's about it. You can kill someone with 22 is one of the hardest ones to kill someone with, but like you can definitely kill someone with a 22 100% with a 9mm, and yeah. So they didn't need better guns, they just need to go in there and help people. Uvalde? Oh, I don't know. Now, on Tuesday night, some parents were still waiting to confirm their child's identity or locating their missing loved one. Parents were instructed by officials to provide DNA samples to assist in verifying victims. Yeah, I mean, people are checking hospitals just to try to find them. And I mean, it depends on the traumatic brain injury, but... There was a question if the kids were disabled, like the kids in the hospital, the missing ones, or what? And I don't know what ESC awards are. So a husband dies from heart attack days after Texas teacher killed in shooting. Joe, the husband, died of a broken heart. I mean, it's just... I mean, obviously, he passed away due to grief, but, like... I'm sure it feels that way after an event like this. Apparently, the Justice Department will conduct a review of police response to the Uvalde school shooting. So, U.S. Department of Justice announced on Saturday. Sorry, let me swallow before I speak. The U.S. Department of Justice announced on Sunday that a review will be launched into the law enforcement response to the shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas last week. Days after the tragic event that claimed the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers, Texas Department for Public Safety Director Stephen McCraw publicly acknowledged that it was the wrong decision for officers to stay nearly an hour in the hallway of the school as they waited for tactical equipment and the keys from a janitor to open a door to the classroom that the 18-year-old gunman barricaded. Oh, the class attack rumored to be an exceptional student education class? Oh no. Because of course it is. Texas, so, this relates to some of this, so, 2 years later and nothing has changed, and yeah, the more things change, the more they've stayed the same. I've seen this. It's Minneapolis Police Department has had little to no change. This was a horrific event, and there have been horrific events since, and nothing has changed. NFL acknowledged that Black lives, like those of its players, but few of its coaches and none of its owners mattered. We pretend that hadn't blackballed Colin Kaepernick for trying to tell them this. Power concedes nothing without demand. This is something true with every almost every protest. Things don't like change. If people are in a powerful position, a lot of times they don't want to get out of the powerful position. For any number of reasons. Most of them bad. But, yeah, no one... This is why, like, things need to continue. I mean, the person who murdered George Floyd ended up with his sentence lightened. Everything's pretty much the same. except for a handful of officers gotten rid of, but that's not going to get rid of the core elements that made the problem. So, trans girl attacked after conservatives falsely blamed Uvade shooting on trans person. I'm probably mispronouncing it horribly every time. Trans girl in Texas says that she was attacked by 4 men last night who seemed to reference the Uvalde elementary school shooting. Parts of the far-right internet yesterday were incorrectly saying that the alleged shooter, who killed at least 19 children and 2 adults, was trans. It's a transsexual leftist illegal alien. Just think about the levels of dehumanizing hate that's in that statement. Anyways, Republican Paul Gosar, who's also an ass, Representative Paul Gosar, a Republican from Arizona, tweeted yesterday about the person who opened fired on children at Robb Elementary School. It's apparently your kind of trash. The shooter, who is already dead, was a cisgender and a U.S. citizen. A cisgender person and a U.S. citizen. A trans girl was accosted by 4 men outside of the library in El Paso last night. Oh look, it has a dick, one of the men said, which is when you get to that level of dehumanization, that's a red flag that they're about to attack. Just with everyone. Yeah, it's, you know, they're perverting kids instead of killing them, she said, one of the men said, as he allegedly grabbed her arm and forced her to turn around and face him. I'm only 17, she responded. Yeah, you know what, it was one of your sisters who killed those kids, a different man allegedly said. You're a mental health freak. They pulled a trans girl from Georgia's pics and blamed her. And I think one from Pennsylvania had pictures stolen too. Yeah. The Rainbow Youth Project said they tried calling El Paso Police Department about the alleged assault, but they couldn't get the police to report either. So, Supreme Court. Oh, the Supreme Court rules innocence isn't enough to overturn a black man's conviction of murder. Innocence isn't enough. Let's just walk that back. It doesn't matter if you are innocent of the crime. If you're black, apparently, the court says it's fine for you to receive, I assume this is death penalty. Barry Jones sits on death row in Arizona. Yeah, death penalty. After being convicted in 1995 for the rape and murder of his girlfriend's 4-year-old daughter, is still facing execution despite evidence indicating that he may be innocent. Jones had his conviction overturned in 2018 when a federal court concluded that he didn't receive effective counsel, which is a violation of the Sixth Amendment rights. There is reasonable probability that his jury could not have convicted him of any of the crimes with which he was charged and previously convicted. Arizona's Attorney General appealed the decision to the Supreme Court after losing the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. State prosecutors then continued to stand against Jones, saying his innocence isn't enough to throw out his conviction. With a 6-3 vote on Monday, the Supreme Court agreed that Jones's innocence is not enough to set him free. Know this, yesterday the Supreme Court ruled it is perfectly constitutional to imprison and execute people, even those who have evidence of their innocence and inadequate counsel. Not just that, they ruled the Constitution prohibits even evidentiary hearings to look into it. So, yeah, wait, so what is enough? Yeah, I know, that's the question. What is enough? If innocence isn't enough, do you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt innocent, every aspect of innocence, even though there's plenty of proof that there was not enough evidence to convict beyond a reasonable doubt? We're supposed to be a country where innocence until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocence. The fact that this is the case there is just, yeah. I don't know what's enough in their mind. Or no, I have an idea, but it would likely involve proving innocence and then going against the concept of American legal system. So the Canadian military is facing a sexual misconduct crisis. Because of course it is. 403-page report from the former Supreme Court of Canada Justice says issues of sexual assault and abuses of power are a liability to the country. The report is over 400 pages long and has nearly 50 recommendations. The exposure of sexual misconduct in the Canadian Armed Forces has shed light on a deeply deficient culture fostered by a rigid, outdated structure that did little to modernize it. So, the report follows a 2015 review by Mary Deschamps, which shows that sexual misconduct was an endemic in the military. Citing this report, brought forward 48 recommendations to fundamentally change sexual misconduct. So hopefully this will get utilized. So I believe we're getting close to the numerous genocide theme. So NHS bosses blocked vital healthcare advice for pregnant trans people, quoting, "It's dangerous." Officials spoke to a range of people to produce the resources for the English NHS website. But senior bosses have allegedly blocked the release of advice for almost a year. The NHS is there for everybody. If this contact is not being progressed at the same or the same as other content, then it's discriminatory and it's dangerous, they said. People can die. Which I suppose is likely the point. So I'm going to see if someone spills the beans on the senior individuals who are blocking our trans pregnancy content section, which has been ready to release for too long, one manager said, according to a screenshot seen by the eye. I don't know what the eye is. This is Pink News in UK. So yeah, so basically yeah, it's awful. And a mess. So apparently in Russia, anti-LGBTQ propaganda is a big part of the war effort. So the Putin regime focuses on humiliating the LGBTQ community inside Russia is being utilized as a part of their war efforts against the Ukrainian populace as well. So, December 2018 report, Human Rights Watch, repercussions of a 2013 enacted law in Russia which focused on quote-unquote gay propaganda. So, apparently there's state-sponsored homophobia. It is conflating international journalism and being queer. To the head of... Yeah, it's it's bad. It's a lot of bad stuff. It's essentially the classic gay agenda type stuff. So, Doctor becomes the first Qatari person to publicly come out as gay, and now he's seeking asylum in the U.S. Nas Muhammad, a 35-year-old physician living in San Francisco, California, left behind his life in Qatar, where he hid who he was in fear of persecution. Done with being anonymous, Muhammad told the British newspaper The Independent that his journey to accepting his sexuality was not an easy one. Homosexuality is illegal in the Gulf nation, and punishments range from fines, jail time, and in regions where the Sharia court rules, queer Muslim men can technically be given a death sentence. The man's not alone. Muhammad said that there are a lot of gay people in Qatar who grew up in a country where male, macho, righteous, and misogynistic culture is celebrated. I wonder who brought that over to them. He was also wary of the gay conversion therapy centers that operate in Qatar. Eventually found who he was and came out. And hopefully he can seek the refuge for safety. Melbourne woman with cerebral palsy fights to stay in her home after the NDIS funding cut. So it sounds like... I know this might sound a lot like there's a genocide going on of disabled people, but it sounds like funding is cut to various disability organizations because disabled people aren't cared about if they live. So in May, that person she moved to a new apartment provided by the NDIS. Specialist Disability Accommodation Program. So probably like the Social Security card industry in US and I can't remember the program in Britain. I know there's a program, but like the home, it gives her freedom and independence. She is long desired. But changes to her NDIS plan means she faces being forced to move back into shared accommodation. Back in April, we went for a plan review, and I was told that my SDA funding was being cut, and I'll need to move into shared accommodation. There was no warning. There was no talk about my SDA being reviewed. It was really a bombshell. She sought an internal review of the decision, which was denied. Probably like HUD, I would guess. I'm not sure what HUD stands for, so maybe. So she sought review of the decision, which was denied. Singapore Guardian Australia states that the funding that would allow her to keep living in her home was not considered value for money, one of the requirements of the NDIS Act. Information and evidence within your S100 review request notes you currently require intensive person-to-person supports for your disability related to related support needs for significant periods of the day, the letter states. These supports would be best met in a cost-effective shared living arrangement. The new funding allocation requires her to live with 2 other residents. Housing and urban development in the U.S. Yeah, maybe. Women in B district of Maharashtra are getting their wombs removed. So, the women living in the B district of Maharashtra are getting their wombs removed due to poverty and rudimentary living arrangements. In a bid to increase work productivity and to avoid daily wage loss, they are getting hysterectomies, which have a bunch of effects, obviously. So women living in this district are mostly cane cutters who migrate to the sugar belt of western Maharashtra during the cane cutting season. Due to poverty, women get married early in the B district and remove their uterus after having 2 or 3 children. Hysterectomies ensures the menstrual periods do not hinder work. Therefore, 50% of women in the district have already undergone this procedure. So this is unnecessary surgeries that, as usual, the poor are forced into a situation of do this or die. Which sucks. To put it lightly, it sucks. Hacked police files reveal Uyghur detention camps in China, report. As the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner Michelle Bachelet visits, I'm probably gonna slaughter this, Xinjiang, a report claims data hacked from Xinjiang. Wait, whatever. Xinjiang, whatever. Police show photographs of the incarceration program being conducted by the Chinese government. The hackers' data, known as the police files, reportedly shows the internment of Uyghurs. I'm doing a bad job pronouncing this stuff. The BBC report says the hacked files contained over 5,000 photographs taken by police. The police, with over 2,000 who were reportedly detained with guards armed with batons standing on the side. China has repeatedly denied it conducts detention camps. I'm sure U.S. Denies it too. I mean, at least in that one country, people were voluntarily getting hysterectomies, unlike the detention camps here. So the report claimed the youngest member of the group being detained was 15 at the time of detention, the oldest being a 73-year-old woman. The report said some are detained due to their Islamic faith and for visiting Muslim-majority countries. Tens of thousands of documents and such. So, on the one bit of good news, from Spain to South Korea, the push for paid menstrual leave. Many women have painful periods, but only a handful of countries, largely in Asia and most recently Spain, have moved to give them time off work to recover. Spain has become the first Western country, which I mentioned earlier, to give menstrual leave. Draft legislation has to be approved by Parliament. Proposal comes amid a campaign by feminists worldwide to demolish taboos around periods. By the way, speaking of demolishing taboos around periods, I particularly enjoyed that commercial. They seem to be using red liquid to simulate periods, as opposed to blue or whatever else. Anyways, Indonesia passed a law in 2003 giving women the right to 2 days of paid menstrual leave per month without giving prior notice, but the provision is in practice discretionary, which of course many employers only allow 1 day a month, while others give no menstrual leave at all, either because they're unaware of the law or choose to disregard it. In Japan, dating as far back as 1947, states that companies must agree to give women menstrual leave if they request it for as long as they need it. Does not, however, require them to pay women during menstrual leave, but around 30% of Japanese companies offer full or partial pay, according to a 2020 Labor Ministry survey. Not many women take advantage of the law, however. But, I mean, different people are different. Some people have worse periods than others. Some people still probably have shame of the idea of having to take work off due to ableism. Ableism is fundamentally at its core about shaming people who are too different. Taiwan, the Act of Gender Equality and Employment gives women 3 days of menstrual leave per year. 3 days of menstrual leave per year, which is not enough, but it's not deducted from the 30 days of sick leave. Women can only take 1 day in a given month, like sick leave, only receive 50% of salary. Zambia became the envy of other African countries when passed a law in 2015, allowing women to take a day off of work during their period without giving notice or supplying a doctor's note. Generally accepted and supported, now employers willing to comply with the law, but encouraged by trade unions. Australia, India, France companies lead the way. Some companies have not waited to be compelled by law to offer women menstrual leave. They include the Victorian Women's Trust, an Australian gender equality agency which offers employees 12 days of menstrual leave and menopause leave, I assume a year. In food delivery startup Zomato, which offers 10 days of period leave, and French cooperative La Collective, which gives staff up to 1 day of period leave per month. So, yeah, oops, no, that's not what. No. There we go. So, I hope you had as wonderful a time as you can listening to me yammer on about a variety of different news sites. You can catch me later doing... How I can move this to this part. You can catch me later streaming League of Legends, but let's see. I can't remember this channel. I have no memory of this channel. You know what? Let's just end it here, and hopefully, you'll be back next week. News and troll squashing is a good time, yeah.
Is indivisible. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Sex and race, because they are easy, visible differences, have been the primary ways of organizing human beings into superior and inferior groups, and into the cheap labor on which this system still depends.
No, you all tell me to go and hide my tail between my legs. I have been beaten. I have had my nose broken. I have been thrown in jail. I have lost my job. I have lost my apartment for gay liberation. And you all treat me this way? What the fuck's wrong with you all?
We want no more segregation. We will accept no more discussion of segregation. And I would appreciate it if you would stop shaking your head in agreement when I don't think you understand what we are talking about.
Freedom is merely privilege extended unless enjoyed by one and all.
All we are doing with this bill is allowing two people who love each other to have that love recognised by way of marriage. That is all we are doing.
I speak not for myself, but for those without voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their rights, their right to live in peace.
Sometimes, especially in this body, I feel as though if Christ himself walked through these doors and said what he said thousands of years ago, he would be maligned as a radical and rejected from these doors.